I'm going to be looking at, in part one, how the gastrointestinal tract works. And it's quite interesting to look at what's going on with the processes that are responsible for digestion, so you can make your own decision on what is going on in my body at the present moment and what can I do to help facilitate the best outcome possible for it. Now, if we look at the three processes that are involved, you've got digestion, absorption, and excretion. And I always look at, when I see my clients, I say, well, are these processes working, especially if they've got certain microbial dysbiosis, which we're going to be looking at a bit more in detail later on. Now, if we look at digestion, there's a few of your areas in the body that are responsible for digestion. So your mouth, your liver, your pancreas, your stomach, your large intestine, and your small intestine. Now, if we look at digestion, digestion starts in the mouth. You need to chew your food well. You'll release digestive enzymes, and digestive enzymes help to break the food down into smaller molecules so our body is able to absorb them. All right. Now, just say you've eaten your food, you're chewing your food very well. We usually say about 20 times. It moves down into the stomach where hydrochloric acid is produced. Now, hydrochloric acid will move into the stomach and help break the food down, especially the amino acids. The proteins will get broken down into smaller protein molecules. And when this actually happens, the food becomes more acidic, which is a good thing because our pH is usually between 1 to 3 in the stomach. If it's more than 3 to 5, it's classified as alkaline. And then also you get some people that are over that actually are too alkaline. So we really need an acidic environment for our food. And then what happens, the food will move down into the small intestine. And when it gets moved into the small intestine, digestive enzymes as well as bile gets released. But it only gets released, well, I wouldn't say only, there's a certain amount of digestive enzymes and bile that will get released due to an acidic environment. So if your hydrochloric acid is ideal, you'll produce hopefully enough digestive enzymes and bile to break down that food. If your acid in your stomach is too alkaline, so if you've got too much of an alkaline system in the stomach, you will find your reduction, or your body will not produce as much digestive enzymes and bile to help with digesting the food, which is very important to know. So do you have enough acid or do you have too little acid? That's something we're going to need to look at a bit later on. So with the help of the acid, with the help of the digestive enzymes in the pancreas from the mouth, the bile, the digestive enzymes from the small intestine, what happens is the food gets broken down into smaller molecules. So carbohydrates will be broken down to glucose and smaller sugar molecules. Proteins will get broken down from the hydrochloric acid as well as the digestive enzymes being processed. The fatty acids will be broken down by digestive enzymes as well as bile. So all of these processes that occur in the system will be, or the food will be broken down into smaller molecules, so we'll be able to absorb them in our body. And lastly, vitamins and minerals will be broken down as well by digestion to absorb into the bloodstream to obviously help us with our health and wellness. Now, looking at this, do you chew your food well? Do you produce enough hydrochloric acid? Do you produce enough digestive enzymes? Have you had a gallbladder removed? Do you produce enough bile? Do you have any problems in the small intestine? Is there anything going on in the digestive process that you could do right now to help it work at its optimum? And we're going to be looking at this a bit later on. Now, if we look at absorption, you'll see that the small intestine is responsible for absorption. And I've actually just highlighted this little area here. Just pretend I'm doing a biopsy. I'm looking at the stomach. You get these little things called your villi in the stomach, in the small intestine. And if we look at the villi, you can see here, I'll actually do a little bit more of another scope to have a look and see what is going on at this level of the villus. And we'll see here that if I highlight it for you under microscope, you'll see these finger projection light called your microvilli. And these microvilli are these finger projection lights that stick out, but they have a massive surface area. And that surface area is very important to help you absorb. Your digestive enzymes lie on that surface area, as well as other molecules that are responsible for digestion and digestion as well as absorption. So absorption takes place here, and you need to make sure your gastrointestinal tract, but this I'm looking at the small intestine, is intact. And if it's not intact, we start seeing problems, which we'll discuss in the next couple of points a little bit later on. Excuse me. How the gastrointestinal works in regards to excretion. So once you've absorbed everything as best as you can, the waste will go into the colon. It'll move through the colon. Microbes will feed onto that waste, and then you'll have excretion. Obviously, you'll excrete that waste. If you haven't digested your food very well, such as you haven't digested your proteins, your carbs, and your fats, sometimes what happens is it'll move into the colon, create a disturbance in the microbes, create discomfort in the gastrointestinal tract. And this is where we see gas, bloating, diarrhea, constipation occurring if people are not being able to digest their food and absorb their food well. So this is something really to take note of what's actually going on.